Erster Tag der Gamescom. Wir haben direkt einen geilen Titel hier, auf den ich mich tierisch freue. Life is Strange 2. Mit einem der wichtigen Menschen, die an diesem Projekt arbeiten, nämlich Michel Koch. Michel, nice to meet you. Great to have you here on board talking about the game.
Thank you.
So we have some material, we have a trailer. Which one would you prefer? Would you like to introduce the game to newer audiences via the trailer maybe?
I think we could start with the trailer. I can briefly talk about the game and we see the trailer. So Life is Strange 2 is a new story set within the same universe as the first Life is Strange, and it tells the story of two brothers, Sean and Daniel Diaz. Sean is 16 years old, Daniel is 9 years old, and they are forced to be on the run after a tragic event that changed their lives forever. And I think we can look at the trailer and you will see a bit more about what it is.
Okay, you want to spoil anyone? Ja, dann gucken wir uns jetzt den Trailer an, der läuft da. Hoffentlich gleich.
What are we gonna do now?
There's nothing we can't do.
Regie, könnt ihr uns bitte auf Kopfhörer legen?
I have no idea where we are. Feels like we're walking nowhere. I don't think Daniel understands what's going on. I can't tell him the truth now. I just can't. How am I supposed to take care of us out here?
On the ground! Don't move!
Oh.
What are we gonna do now?
There's nothing we can't do. As long as we're together.
I'm actually getting goosebumps. It's really
Cool.
great. I mean, the music, the soundtrack, it just fits fine. And I haven't seen much, but I already love the characters.
Thank you. It was quite a challenge when we started to work on a second Life is Strange, because there was tons of expectation after the first game. So we really thought that what kind of new story, what kind of new characters can we talk about in this game?
That would be my first question. Why? I mean, it's taking another risk after the first one, just to change the characters. I mean, everybody knows that it's easier another way. So was that your choice from the beginning?
Actually, when we worked on the first Life is Strange, we knew that we had one story we wanted to tell, the story of Max, and for us, at the end of episode 5, there was this big choice you had to make that, for us, in any way, was the end of this story arc. And we love to tell stories and to talk about different characters, different themes, and we knew that after, when we would be working on a new game, we really wanted to talk about really a new set of characters and approach different themes. You see that they're on the road, they're on the run. It's completely different than the mechanics you had in the first game, where it was all set up in the same town. Right now we are using this road movie structure when they have to go forward and to move, which will allow us to show a lot of different environments. They're crossing basically the United States, going from Seattle and trying to reach Mexico. So we can talk about a lot of different states, different characters, different environments, which is a really powerful storytelling device where we can bring new themes to the story.
So it's like a road trip.
It's like a road trip when you're...
Like a buddy movie and a road trip
exactly.
and a coming-of-age story.
Exactly.
So it's still about young people. It's still about people who are trying to know their place in the world, which isn't getting easier with superpowers.
Exactly.
So your smile tells me more than I knew. So there are powers.
There are powers.
Okay, it's not like in the prequel or... it's more like Captain Fantastic.
I don't want to say more about it because you will have to discover it over the course of the game, but there are powers. And they will affect, of course, the journey of the kids and the choice we'll have to make, because you play as Sean, as the older brother, and everything in the game revolves around taking care of Daniel, of your younger brother. One of the main themes of the game is the education. And basically, when you're on your road, living as outcasts, it's even more complicated because you might have to do things that you wouldn't do in real life, like you might need to steal or to be criminals to survive. And what you do will affect Daniel because he's always with you, he's looking at what you're doing as a big brother, and he will take example on what kind of things you are teaching to him.
So what changes did you have to make during developing the storyline and everything, depending on that you now play two boys instead of it was a girlish theme with bullyish undertones, and it was also a high school drama, whatever. So what has changed? It sounds like it's something completely different with completely different characters and motivations. And I mean, there are no teachers, people you're used to know, people who should like care for you or whatever. So you're on the road, so everybody could be a villain or whatever.
Or on a lie. But yeah, you're right. You cannot trust. It's really complicated to be on your own on the road, and you cannot trust directly people you will be meeting. And what's really interesting with the road movie structure and the buddy movie structure is that Sean and Daniel, they will meet characters, a lot of different characters over the course of the game, but those are really intense and also brief encounters where sometimes you still have to move on and you have to leave people behind. So it allowed us to write the characters also in a different way, to try to bring this kind of quick spark you can have with someone you will meet just for a few minutes or few days, and then you're leaving behind.
How are you guys thinking about games who are in the same genre, like Life is Strange? I mean, you surely get asked that question a lot. How do you think about Telltale, and which ones do you like, which ones you don't like? Do you want to talk about that? I mean,
yeah, of course. No, it's really interesting.
At the end, they are colleagues, and
exactly.
Of course, you don't talk bad about colleagues.
Exactly. No, it's to be honest, if Telltale didn't make The Walking Dead, I don't think we would have started to even think that making the first Life is Strange would have been possible. They're really.
It feels like that. Yeah. They started it. They kick-started the whole idea of it.
They took what was great in a lot of adventure games from before, and they did present it in a more cinematographic way with much more attention to the story and the characters, and it showed us as creators that there was a public for this kind of game, which really pushed us in trying to make our own stories, our own characters, our own vision of what the game like this should be. But definitely we are playing a lot of those games, and I like I played last year What Remains of Edith Finch, which I really loved, which I think is a great game, and there was tons of really good storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So how does it feel to be now on the other end? Now maybe guys at Telltale, guys and gals at Telltale sits there and say, we have to do the next Life is Strange. Our game sucks. We have to be better than this. I mean, now you're the guys everyone is like looking for.
I'm not. I don't know. If
I would say so.
Yeah?
I would definitely say you guys, your games are better than Telltale games. I would say that. I mean, they're more expanding. They're more emotional. I think they have the better storylines. I mean, of course, you haven't made that many games yet, so it's a bit unfair.
It's neat to see if
but
you're still managing
you're not
to do
the
that,
underdog anymore. That's what I want to say. You're one of the games people say you have to be like that if you want to succeed.
I think that for sure we like to look at other creations, other games, and just also see what works, what's great. And I think basically for me, creation is always evolving. You're looking at stuff and you're trying to improve it and bring a bit of your own. I think it's something you can say that there is no revolution in art, only evolution. So I think it's a process of every studio should. I think it's great to look at the competition or your friends or the other people doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing, and try to improve by looking at what works in their creations.
You just said it. What works? What didn't work maybe in the original Life is Strange that you've changed?
The way we tried to work on Life is Strange 2 is mostly looking at what we felt was really strong in the first game and try to improve upon it. For example, in in Life is Strange, most of the dialogues were always static. When you were talking with someone, it was just a lot of shots, and you have the choice of the dialogue, and you're just doing that. We still have those sequences, of course, because they work really well to put you in the heart of the dialogue. But we started with Captain Spirit, and we try to do it even more in Life is Strange 2, is to have a lot of possibilities to talk while you're walking, or just looking at the environments, or interacting with objects. There is a scene, for example, in the.
we're already showing material here.
It's the really first scene of the game where you will discover basically the characters before anything bad happened to them. So we'll discover Sean, we'll discover Daniel, their father, and it's really a scene that will just put the player in a territory that he knows. It looks like a lot at the first Life is Strange. You're playing as Sean, you're just getting back from school, you want to go to this party at night, Halloween party.
At that stage of a game, you have to play with cliches and everything. You have
exactly.
to put it out there, okay, he's a kid, he goes to school, these are his friends. So it's not, what would you say would be the main topic of the game, or aren't you allowed to that? I mean, like, if you could put it in one sentence.
The main topic that will link all the episodes is really education. Having Daniel with you and being
who's educating who in the game? So of course you are educating your younger brother, but is the world educating the older brother? I mean, he's still young too.
Definitely there is this main gameplay and narrative feature is Sean educating Daniel. But of course, as Sean is on the road on his own, he will also get a lot of insights and teachings from other people,
guys
from the world, from the world around him.
Okay,
for sure.
So maybe you can elaborate on what we're seeing right now. We can't hear the dialogue. We will shut up later in the game for just a glimpse of how the dialogue is written. But right now, maybe you can elaborate on it.
So it's really the introduction scene to start to discover the characters, to see Sean, to see his best friend Lila, trying to just get into his life and knowing who he is as a character. Because even if you're playing the game, you're playing as him, we still need and want to have a character that is still established, where the player then will be able to put a lot of his own intentions when he plays a game. But at the start, Sean is this 16-year-old teenager just wanting to go to a party, not really taking that good care of his brother.
But but that's an interesting point. When I played the Life is Strange, of course we can say that you have two different endings, and I mean the point is, how would she choose? You don't know. At a player, you chose yourself, so you try to define that character, but then at the end, you as a player still own him. No, it's gone.
Exactly. That's always I think something that a hard balance to find in a game like this is we have a story we want to tell, we have characters that we think needs to be quite established to be interesting, but it's not a movie. You cannot do whatever you want as a storyteller with the characters. You need to give the player some intent and some, of course, interactivity to make this character evolve. But it's important to create a good frame for that. So the way we try to create our main characters is having this frame where Sean has qualities, he has flaws, and then the player can put a bit of himself in him and try to then branches and advance within this set frame of the character.
Will there be in future games a kind of a story arc, a bigger developing picture? Are these all the future X-Men of a game that is coming out in 10 years? You know, are you thinking about that? Are you because you can plant the seeds right now. They don't have to grow. You just can put it out there. We've already planned that.
That's a really good question. To be honest, we talk with the writer and with Raoul, the other creative director, about this, but it's already hard and complicated to make one game. So right now we are mostly thinking about the story of Sean and Daniel, like we were thinking of the story on Max and Chloe. And we have ideas that we could tie them more, stuff like that, but it's, I don't know, it's really almost science fiction to think about that. We know that this is the same universe, so definitely the players who did play the first Life is Strange will see links and connections and some Easter eggs or elements that will link the game together. If you played Captain Spirit, there is definitely you will meet Chris again and see your action in Captain Spirit have some consequences in Life is Strange 2. Yeah. If you have a save for Captain Spirit, you will have some.
While you're talking about it, there's another father-son connection, just like it. So it's very, it's important to you right now. This kind of connection.
With this main scene, it's the first time you see Esteban, Sean's father, and that's really the start of this theme of education. Because even if the dialogue right here is asking him about what does Sean wants to really do later, that he has to commit to something. So he's starting to put the seeds of course, the theme of the game about education. So just to go back to the things we did improve, we tried to, of course, improve the way we are working on the dialogue. This is one of the most difficult aspects of this game, is that Daniel is a 9 years old kid, always with you. So it was a big challenge to write for a kid, to have him behave like a kid, for the animations, for the voice acting, for everything. So we put a lot of dedication to that by finding the perfect voice actors and body actors.
How do you work around that? I mean, of course, you're not a kid anymore, and nobody in your company maybe is. So how do you get there? I mean, do you talk to kids? Do you let kids write your dialogue? Is it a mix-up?
It's a lot of things.
Who decided?
I think the first thing is to work with good writers that knows how to write good stories, whichever the character is. But we also do a lot of documentations, and our writer Jean-Luc Cano as a young girl, so he knows, of course, he's a father, so his themes is quite important for him, and he's looking a lot at how his daughter reacts to a lot of things, and we did put some of this aspect in the character. And we're also, when we go to voice recording sessions, we have the main actor playing Daniel is a bit less young than Daniel, is like 11 or 12 years old, but still we let him work a bit on the dialogue.
He might say,
hey, I won't say that.
Dude, nobody talks like that.
Exactly.
Whoa, whoop, I don't know. I have no opinion.
Exactly.
I have no idea how they're talking. But of course, he would say that.
I really.
So you get your pop cultural references in order.
Yeah, it's sometimes we have a line that we see that the actor has a hard time to say. We ask him if he has a hard time because it's weird, and if it is, we change it, and we try to work with him to find something that he would say. Because that's really important,
Yeah, interesting line of work.
So you can just see that for this scene that the basics are quite the same. You are the basics of an adventure game where you're walking, interacting with the environment. We love in our game to really put a lot of details on the environment, because we think that environmental storytelling can really tell a lot about the characters, like the objects they own, how a room or a bedroom is designed, everything. So you can still do that a lot in Life is Strange 2.
I totally love it when the setting tells the story for itself. So every decision, of course, leads to a different ending. If you drink a beer, different ending. If you eat the cookie dough, different ending.
So
if you close the refrigerator too soon, different ending, right?
We still have to be constrained by production constraint, to be honest. So you won't have 10,000 of variations, but we try to put, like I said, working with having Daniel was a big challenge, because we also really want him to be the center of the choice and consequences. So most of the things you will say, most of the things you will do, will have impact on how Daniel will evolve and really become a good person, a bad person. I'm a bit cliché when I say that, but that's the same kind of idea of what you are doing will affect him in his way of evolving over the course of the game.
So I guess you guys, I'm sorry, I don't want to say you guys always, because I know you have female developers and everything. It's just you know.
Time to Skype live.
No. I was apologizing and forgetting what I was trying
to
ask you. But never mind. Let's go back to the game.
So this is one of the first scenes you have in the game when you can interact with Daniel. And at this moment, they have this...
It's Beer's lair.
They have this quite classical brother, big brother, little brother relationship, where the big brother feels always a bit... not angry, but...
what are you doing?
Teasing.
They're teasing. They love each other, but they're also teasing each other, and there is this kind of rivalry that you can have between two brothers. So we are showing in this scene this kind of relationship they have in the beginning of the game before they have to be forced on the road together alone.
What I was wanted to ask you, so how do you try to avoid the risk of being too, in your choices, in the good or bad choices, to being too cliche, to being too black and white, being too, bipolar or whatever, how do you, how do you create situations that show the player and the character that there are different, perspectives needed for everything?
It's something that, to be honest, quite complicated with those games, is to think of what the player would like to do in a situation and try to propose him the choices that make sense. When we're writing some dialogue choices or interaction choices in the game, we try to always think of, at first, what would the character do, so to present choices that make sense for characters, but also trying to present them in a way that might make the player think a bit more longer about what he should do. So it's trying to find the shades of grey in those choices.
Life is a shades of grey.
To not be like, okay, there is this thing that I must definitely do, and this one that, okay, nobody will do it. There is moments where we still can have black and white choices because it happens, but we try to find the balance for that.
Okay, so I'm really sorry we have been a bit late with that show, so we're running out of time now. But I really hated to end it now, but of course,
no worries.
It's online, guys.
You can check. You can check this gameplay video online. The trailer, it's online too. The game will be released at the end of September.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll play it.
Okay, and
thank you for coming.
I hope that the players will like those new characters and enjoy their story.
I'm pretty sure they will. I will. Sah toll aus. Wir werden spielen, wenn es kommt. Habt ihr ja gerade gehört. Wir müssen jetzt leider zum Schluss kommen. Ihr findet das Ganze aber auch nochmal online. Da könnt ihr euch das ganze Gameplay angucken. Vielleicht nochmal in die Dialoge reinkommen. Ein bisschen die Stimmung fühlen. Das Spiel atmen lassen. Dafür haben wir ja wenig Zeit. Das war's jetzt hier. Jetzt geht's weiter mit irgendwas. Ihr findet es im Sendeplan. Bis gleich. Nehme ich an.